Welcome back to MLB Tonight, presented by Chase Inc. I have a feeling we've stumbled upon a new staple segment here on MLB Tonight where we talk all things pitching. The state of not just the game, but specifically pitching, with a guy that would trade and sign pitchers and a guy that was a pitcher for 18 years in the big leagues. So many topics to get to. Dan, you pitched out of the bullpen primarily for your entire career. What do you think the state of the game is right now for this one word, bullpenning? When we started this network in 2009, no one's ever said bullpenning. Is bullpenning as strong as ever, or is it trending in a different direction, in your opinion, right now?
Oh, it's strong as ever. Very few starting pitchers. We have gotten to a point in the industry right now where 5 innings, we're afraid to let anybody go through the lineup a third time. And if a guy does and he pitches well, can't let that happen again. So if you continue to expect out of your starting pitchers, can you give us 150 innings? 175, you're worth your weight in gold. You've got to get some innings. And I don't see this bullpen thing ending until, as an industry, we start developing starting pitchers again that start going 6, 7 innings, not being content with, hey, I pitched well 5 innings, 75 pitches. I'm out the door. I didn't go through the lineup the third time, but boy, I was good.
You think it's as strong as ever? I don't know why I want to disagree with that, Dan. What do you think?
I disagree. I think the usage is as strong as ever, but I'm beginning to see a shift in the mentality of the thought process of people who are in the positions of making decisions, because I think they're realizing the fallacy behind the thought process. One, injuries are going through the roof, so that's not sustainable. Number 2, it's bad for the players in the long run. Number 3 is that you just can't cover 1,200 plus innings a year with a bullpenning approach. So I think it's going to take time, as Danny said. I don't think it's going to happen overnight, Greg. But I really see a shifting in the thought process of understanding how important starting pitching is and how we as an industry has to start figuring out how to develop more starting pitching.
And with that said, I love swing and miss. I think when you get to October, you have to have swing and miss to win. But you have to get there. In the marathon, you need innings. So are pitch-to-contact starters now in vogue more than years past?
I think clubs have come to the realization that max effort pitches are just not sustainable. You can't have enough of them because they can't stay healthy. So 2 things for me are going to come back and vote. 1, pitch to contact, 2, sinker ball guys, which we've lost. We're just starting to see sinker ball guys come back now, which are really pitch to contact guys. But I do think command of fastball, understanding the art of pitching, is not only going to come back, it has to come back, because we cannot as an industry sustain the level of injuries we have from max effort pitchers.
And that's why, in my opinion, all year long, I was on the Garrett Cole train. He is by far the best starting pitcher in the game of baseball. He's gotten away from that early part of his career when he was with the Pirates. He was a sinker slider guy. But like most young pitchers, you want to strike people out. You equate a good performance, 6, 7 innings with 9, 10, 11, 12 strikeouts. If you watch the progression of Garrett Cole this year, his strikeouts were down, but his walks were down. He was in games a lot longer, over 200 innings. He was as consistent gets. And I'm with Dan. The day and age where if you want to be a maximum effort pitcher, there are only so many guys that can pitch that kind of style of baseball and last for any amount of time. That's when the injuries start. When you're a max effort, falling towards first base, falling towards third base, a vicious recoil. Yeah, we've gotten so enamored by watching a game and going, whoa, 97, 101, 99. And then when a guy throws 93, you're like, he's 93. Not that good of a fastball.
Yeah, and I actually think technology-wise, too, is going to change our thing. I believe the next phase for us, the clubs are already doing, but I think the biomechanical understanding how the body works is going to become paramount for each and every team. I think they're going to be able to study a pitcher's delivery, and honestly, for a hit or swing for that matter, too, and they're going to say, okay, here are your points of concern. We've got to be able to fix that. I think clubs are going to understand they cannot afford to have all this money sitting on the DL. And I think it's also a competitive advantage. Whatever club implements this strategy first, dominant back end of the bullpen, power, strikeout guys. But then a staff made up of pitchers that all average between 150 and 175, hopefully getting back to 200 innings a year. That's going to be a competitive advantage, both in a given year and sustainability for winning years moving forward.
That's why I think another guy getting the Garrett Cole and Jacob deGrom when they're healthy. They've separated themselves from the rest of the starters. Dan was talking about the sinker coming back in play. I think the single biggest weapon you can have right now as a starting pitcher are two fastballs. One that you can ride up, four-seamer with spin, and one that you can sink. You can go up there, 2 balls and 1 strike, you're going to get a fastball for Garrett Cole. But you don't know which one you're going to get. The one that's 97 that rides up in the zone, that's four-seam, that he spins, or the one that's 93 that's got movement. So you can sit on a heater, but you don't know which one's coming.
What I loved about the Cy Young shows, we had 6 finalists, and they all had a different pitch that was their bread and butter. Garrett Cole had that four-seamer. We had Blake Snell with the nasty curveball. Kevin Gausman had the split. But would you say Sonny Gray, who got a new pitch into the vernacular of baseball, the sweeper was the pitch of 2023.
Yeah, and the crazy part about that pitch is if you go back in my genre, in my era when I started playing, that was the pitch like you got to stay away from that. We don't want that big sweeping.
Because it was called a slurve.
Exactly. We want to stay away. We want a pitch that changes planes. We want a pitch that goes north to south. Forget the east to west movement. We want north to south. We want that Steve Carlton tight down and in slider from a lefty. We want that hard, vicious slider from a right-hander. And what you've gotten with Sonny Gray, and it was a great interview too, and he was on the other day with Harold and Matt Vasgersian in the morning, that now he can control the spin and can control the depth in the break. And then when you get that, so now he can turn that into like 3 or 4 different pitches. He can choke it off and hold it back, and he can throw it 81 miles an hour, and it's got that big. Then he can hold it off on the end of his fingers, and it's 84. So he's figured out how to shape it and how to manipulate it.
I've struggled with the definition of it all year. I mean, just wrapping my arms around it. I had 2 pitchers in my career, in Charlie Nagy and Jason Jennings. Both of them threw a sweeper, but we called it a slurve. The difference now, I think you tunneled a little later, so you don't see it as soon out of the hand, but the action is actually the same. It's not, 12 to 4. It's more side to side. It creates the look of a slider, but it's not as violent. And from an injury standpoint, it's a much healthier pitch to throw if you throw it appropriately, because your effort to throw it is not the same as throwing a hard slider. So I do think we've kind of reinvented names a little bit in our industry, because in some ways I think the sweeper's been around for a long time. It was just called a different pitch.
Well, now you have kids. I need to throw a sweeper. How many high school kids I can't wait to throw a sweeper? It is the in vogue pitch right now in the sport, thanks to Sonny Gray. This was good. I like the MoundTable.
I do too.
We're going to make this a staple on the show.